Hi, it's Tom with Digital Foundry. Two new maps were added to Uncharted 4's multiplayer mode this month, one of which is a remake of The Village from Uncharted 2. If you've played the campaign mode, you'll remember it as the Tibetan village Nathan wakes up in midway through the second game, a beautiful area and a moment of calm before the action kicks off again. It became one of the most memorable levels in Uncharted 2's multiplayer as well, but now it's reimagined with Uncharted 4's engine, with all the improvements to textures, geometric detail and lighting you'd expect of a generational leap. For a comparison, the setup is simple. On left is Uncharted 2 running on the PS3 at a native 720p and 30 FPS. Since the original PS3 version is sadly the only way to access multiplayer, it was interesting to go back to the console it debuted on all those years ago, though we do have the Nathan Drake collection on PS4 for single player at 60 FPS. And of course, on the right is Uncharted 4 played using a PS4 Pro at a native 1080p and 60 FPS. So what's changed? Well, Naughty Dog mixes things up this time by portraying the village before it's razed to the ground. The sun is out and the buildings are still intact, giving us new walls to hide behind on the building tops. It's not an exact replica of the original, and plenty of geometry is rejigged across the ground. The central temple is the same, for example, but with new doorways and houses carved out towards the edges, essentially opening up evasive options in Uncharted 4's multiplayer. These new areas mainly factor in the rope mechanic, so now you can move to the borders of the map and swing around the perimeter. And of course there's plenty of gaps between the buildings where you can now tether your rope to swing across. The basic layout is more or less as you remember it though. Over the top, textures are inevitably reworked to suit the crisper 1080p image on PS4, and there's completely rejigged geometry too. I get the impression Naughty Dog started from scratch with this one, but the end result is still very familiar if you're a fan of the Uncharted 2 design. One of the key differences is Uncharted 4 gets rid of that tank that trundles through the map at a set point in a match. Cutting this out in the new map makes sense, I suppose, given there's plenty of explosive action going on already with the mysticals and sidekicks. Going back to Uncharted 2 on the original hardware though, it's surprising how much has moved on in terms of controls. I loved the multiplayer back in the day, and visually it holds up really well at 720p, but I do now notice with hindsight how much more controller latency it has next to Uncharted 4, owing to that 30 FPS update of the second game. Character movement is massively changed too. We have a sprint button and the animation system is more dynamic, meaning you can now control the direction of characters more easily after starting a jump and roll. It's worth noting Uncharted 4 speeds up the gameplay in general as well. In doing an exact run around the village, we had to speed the Uncharted 2 side to 120% to match Nathan Drake's route in the newer game. It just goes to show how Naughty Dog has upped the pace here. With rope swinging and a more dynamic moveset factored in as well, 7 years on it's certainly refined the mechanics to a point that it takes some adjusting to when going back. But overall, I'm pleased the developer has kept up support for this mode since Uncharted 4's release. Given the multiplayer is sort of a medley of ideas plucked from all the games in the series, it makes sense to have a throwback level like this, and I'm sort of hoping we see some other classics revived from Uncharted 2 in particular. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick walk down memory lane. A little more footage to roll out here, but if you enjoyed it, do feel free to like and subscribe. Also, we have a Patreon at digitalfoundry.net where you can see our videos exactly as we intended before putting them on YouTube. But until next time, thanks for watching.